We've got a lot to get through tonight, actually. I'm going to talk a little bit about the news, what's happened in the last month. Lachlan is going to show us some interesting hardware, and Dane's going to talk a little bit about threading tonight. So I'll run through this as quick as I can. First of all, congrats, Dane, father again. So, yay! MicroPython development has slowed a little, but I'm sure it will recover. Tonight's the last meetup for the year, unless we've got interest for December. If people want to, I can check and see if we can do it. There's a couple of people who said they might be interested, but if you do, come speak to me. We'll organise another session. So, news. First thing was about the time to say goodbye video. So, Andreas Spies, I hope I'm saying your name right, Andreas, released a video sort of looking at comparing Arduino development and MicroPython, and it kind of, as far as text stuff went, it went about as viral as we get. So I just checked; it's about it's a couple hundred views short of 150k now, and a bit over 1,000 comments. I've written a few comments to just correct a few things because there's only so much you can take that's wrong information on the internet. And so Andreas reached out and said, would you be able to help me get some information together because he'd like to do another video. So of course I reached out to Damien, and we're going to try and pull together some examples about some of the common issues that were raised in the comments. One of the other things we want to do is look at improving the ESP32 documentation, or at least starting it. So that's underway now. If you've used the ESP32 platform and feel like contributing a little bit, that'll be happening now. In fact, these guys have contributed a little bit tonight. He wants to use the ESP32 because a bunch of his viewers use that platform, so we're just tagging along for the ride. So he wants to look at things like performance and power consumption and using PID loops. Is this something we can do in MicroPython? How does it compare to Arduino? So there's a lot to get through there, and Dan and I have to talk tonight and figure out what we can actually realistically deliver in the next week or two, which is when sort of the window of opportunity we've got. So yeah, that's kind of exciting. Right? A lot of people were interested, and I think it's really cool. Interesting news with France. It's pretty much across the line where Python's going to be the official language for high schools in France, and they've done this to consolidate the resources in the educational sector.
Is that programming? It's going to be the official programming language?
Well, it's displacing French. Tonight's slides are written pretty quickly, but yes, that's a good point. And the whole point here is, consolidate resources. But it's really good news for us too in terms of MicroPython because it's likely to get an uptick in usage. Miscellaneous news, CircuitPython. So Adafruit have released Alpha 3 of version 4.0.0 in their numbering system. It looks likely the next one would probably be the one that would go out, be the official release. They've added BLE for the NRF 52 platform. What else they got? They're looking at replacing FrameBuff with Display I/O. It's not really clear what they're delivering there, but if you're looking at rendering to displays, it looks like they're putting some effort into that. And they've got some Ethernet support, which Nick's not here. I think he'll be here later tonight. Nick helped work on some of that. M5 Stack lessons, there's a whole bunch, there's at least 20 of these lessons that M5 Stack guys have got together. So if you've got one of the M5 Stack devices, which I can come show you, there's one here. One of these guys. Thanks, Dana's got the Bala, which is the self-balancing one. There's a bunch of lessons that you can walk through. They talk about how to light the neopixels on the sides. Talk about doing a few things. Some of that was community driven, some of it was supported by M5 Stack themselves, but worth a look. And there's another tutorial I saw on 8 MicroPython lessons, mostly about connecting to sensors. So if you're sort of new and fresh to MicroPython, really good place to start. Hardware, the badge. Oh crap, I didn't get it. It's over there somewhere. So, Drew Fastini, who works for Oshpark, who make PCBs. They're all the purple PCBs that you might see from time to time. Oshpark supported the Open Hardware Summit. The Open Hardware Summit's 400 or 500 people gathering to talk about open hardware. And as has become common for a lot of these conferences, they made a badge. This badge is interesting because it's an ESP32 running MicroPython with an e-ink display. All of the conference attendees received one of these, and they had their name programmed onto it when they got there. The kind of cool thing is that I haven't got batteries in this one, but as you tilt this forward, there's an accelerometer on there, and it actually shows you a menu system, and it's got touchpads here, and you can choose which application to run. Those applications can also be updated over FTP live at the conference. So while they're during the conference, they actually had people making and sharing MicroPython code that they could upload and share between everyone's badges. I thought that was really cool. We talked about this a little bit last month, but here's one that we can have a look at. Drew was kind enough, thank you Drew, to send one out to me because he's hoping to see one of us play with this and make something interesting and cool out of it.
Does that screen stay static?
There is no power on this device. So yep, that's as Drew sent out. So it's a true e-ink display. There's a podcast that I should link to here where Drew talks about the development of this. It's worth a listen if you're interested in this kind of hardware. But he talks about the choice of bits and pieces that went into this. A lot of it's price sensitive, so they're looking at driving down the costs. So things like touchpads were actually really cost effective for them, and they were able to source a really cheap e-ink display. So it's pretty cool. So that's here for people to play with. I should mention they're also for sale on Tindy for about $50 US if you want to try it. And they ship out to Australia, although they didn't last month, but they've fixed that. Beagle is another little board, again ESP32, lots of ESP32 news at the moment, especially if killing about it. This one's perhaps a little bit interesting because it's quite small, not tiny pico small. It's small and it's got these quite oversized pins you connect. You can either screw things into them, or you can stitch things into them, or you can solder to them, of course. Neat little device, about $15. Adafruit announced the Trellis M4, which is one of the SAM D51. Did you see this? Yeah. It's nuts. I don't know. It's a crazy little board. So, covered in neopixels with the yellow. Hey, hello Nick. Like elastomer buttons. Got a ton of RAM, got a ton of flash. It's got some, it's designed around, it seems to be being used in a lot of audio applications. So people are using it to play things. There's some DSP hardware on board. Yeah, it's quite interesting. About $60, which for that kind of hardware is not bad at all. Crowdfunded projects was a heap of them. So the Bliss Nano we talked about last month, just to follow up, that got funded already. So that looks certain to. Did you see it? It's really cool. It's really good. It's NRF 52 based, but it's tiny. 5.2 yes, 32. I think. Yeah. But yeah, really small little module.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty cute.
So it has an onboard antenna? Like
yes.
A piece of trace antenna? It almost looks like a chip
just
one on the other
I
side of that.
I thought it was chip, but I haven't looked at this for a month, so I'm not sure.
Wow.
It's really tiny.
And a lot of I/O for something that's from that size.
Sorry?
A lot of I/O for something that size.
Yeah, really fine pitch, so it might be a little bit difficult to work with on your own boards. Just be aware of that.
And is it MicroPython based?
No, well, they haven't announced. It's up to you. They're just making the hardware right now.
I see.
Yeah.
It's up
But I thought we should run MicroPython.
Well, you could run.
Yeah.
Sorry, support.
This one also hasn't officially announced MicroPython support, but the WSP32 is an ESP32 board with Ethernet with PoE. There's not too many of those boards around at the moment. Olimex make one, and they compare to it. The Olimex board's actually smaller, but they don't respect the right distance guides. So you're meant to have enough clearance for PoE. The Olimex board clearly doesn't support that. So, at least according to this guy. So. This little part here is a detachable programmable module, so it's just got header pins with like offset holes on the board, so you can just jam it in there. Works pretty well. It's quite neat. If you've got PoE requirements, I think that's pretty cool. It's also funded too. In fact, I think just about all these are almost funded. The Sensi thing we covered a month or two ago, data acquisition board got pretty accurate ADC chip on there from TI. Designed to collect data and store it. So again, I made for that purpose. Funded. The Tomo FPGA, so Tim, who a lot of you know perhaps, made the original Tomo board, which you'll remember is a small little thing which I've still got some to give away if anyone needs one. But this one's cool. It's got like a little lattice FPGA there. This will be capable of running MicroPython, and it's one of the goals of the project to make it run MicroPython. I believe it does, but I'm probably overstepping what Tim's officially announced, I think. Open source toolchain, really great job of laying it out. Luke Valenti, who does the tiny FPGA stuff, he helped out with the layout. Pretty astonishing, you can get full FPGA sitting inside your USB port. Coming soon to crowd supply, but I know this is relatively mature for this point of those kinds of projects. Pi from PyGo, so a lot of you folks might know PyCom. Yeah. PyCom do a lot of those boards. The what do we got? We got the Phi-Pi, the low-Pi, the Y-Pi. There's a whole bunch of boards that PyCom make. They've decided to attack a different segment of the market, I suppose. This looks like a really consumer-focused device. Not really clear to me what I would use this for. It allows you to send things over the Things network. It's got an interesting collection of hardware, so ESP32, OLED, GPS, some sort of touch sensitivity on the front of it, and an accelerometer. And they've got a whole bunch of housings that it can click into. So interesting to see how they go with this. They started on Kickstarter with a really high goal. They probably pulled that down and readjusted that. And now they look like they've already gotten over their funding limit. So it looks.
You can put on your keys.
You can put on your keys. They got photos of it attached to dog collars and stuff, so you can see where your dog is. Children. It's got GPS. You don't lose your children. I think it's nice.
That's actually probably a good use.
Yeah, it is.
You know, crowd shopping centre.
As a new father.
I think on their video they showed creating in the bush, for example, you create a mesh network of
Yeah.
and then Bluetooth with your phone, and you can message each other through your phone.
Yeah.
Over an ad hoc mesh network miles away from the top.
So that's got interesting, like the mesh network capability of it.
LoRa mesh.
The LoRa mesh
Yeah.
has
So,
some
like,
interest.
many kilometres range.
Yeah.
Like devices.
So if you go bushwalking or something, you have a group of people contact with each other over quite a long distance.
Yeah. So maybe there's some interesting uses there.
And they did announce they're going to have GPIO on it.
They did, yeah, and they will support
Some way.
development of some description,
Yeah.
but it's not clear what yet. So I have chipped in for one of them, but yeah, we'll see how we go. Keep an eye out. And man, I thought we'd have a look at one of our competitors here. This is a device which runs .NET. So it's a big device. It's pretty hairy STM32F7. 16 meg of RAM. 32 meg of flash, and they've even got like an ESP32, but just for Wi-Fi, which is kind of interesting. They have announced that it's likely that they'll make that available for programming as well. The nice thing about this is, much like MicroPython, you're working with a high-level programming language, so it looks like quite a rich, well-supported .NET implementation. So if you're in that group of people that like .NET, I'm ho-hum with .NET these days, but it's still, I'd rather be doing .NET programming on a better device than C, probably. So.
Did they officially have feather form factor? Like,
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Feather form factor, which is
As in
it's a feather in their cap.
they're paying Adafruit for the rights.
I don't know if I think Adafruit would allow it to be done that way.
There's multiple sources. Maxim are using the feather footprint for their demo boards now.
And particle.
And particle.
Yeah.
It's going to look like
But they're all changed. They're all redefining some of the pins. Maxim and particle have both changed.
Yeah, it's going to.
Different pins to different definitions. Yeah.
This looks pretty standard. So
Yeah,
they got a lot of examples about connecting this to displays and pretty high level sort of library sort of support there, which is good. I just want to see if we can do a MicroPython port.
Well, it's F7, so
Exactly.
it should
Yeah,
already
it should be
there.
quite easy.
Yeah, sure. That's a
The
really cool.
Wi-Fi though, it depends how that works.
Yeah.
I'll just stick MicroPython on that too and serial between them.
MicroPython here, MicroPython there.
Which that's running now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. There's also a Megaphone. This I haven't bought, but man, I was close. It was like $100. It's ESP32 based. It's now got 4G connectivity as well.
Really?
This thing you can build yourself. It's a DIY kit, fully funded. They made a bucket load of money, $300K or something.
That's not a bucket load.
Well, for a crowdfunded thing, it's not bad. About $100. But, Yeah, I reckon that's really kind of cool.
Is that a GPS chip on
Don't know. I'll go with yes. It did have GPS.
Yeah, surely.
It's cool. Go look it up. They were sort of advertising it as like a really cool thing to do with like your kids to build it and have it as a phone that actually works. You know? And you can make your own. It's got a little display and those kinds of things you need. And then there's the SciP Makes, which I don't know if you've come across, but this is an amazing little RISC-V chip. Are we calling it RISC-V or RISC-V? Has anyone figured that out yet?
5, I reckon.
Sure, RISC-V. Indiegogo, already funded, 400 meg chip. They're selling them at about $5 or $6 for a module. You can also get them with a breadboard ready breakout board, with a camera module, with a super module, with all sorts of stuff. I don't know how to make so much stuff, but they've done it. Stereoscopic cameras as well. And the KPU, which is neural net accelerated blobber hardware on there as well. So yeah, and again they've used the ESP8285 for Wi-Fi, and that thing's it's quite small. I should put the dimensions there, but it's tiny. Interesting, huh? Projects note. I thought I'd show off a couple of these. Not all of these are MicroPython, but most of them at least could run it. They're on devices that would run MicroPython. I think this one's cool. You have a look at the GIFs of this, but it's just a helmet with like neopixels wrapped around it and the accelerometer to detect changes of direction and acceleration. So when you brake relatively quickly, it lights red at the back. When you lean off to one side, it actually flickers all the lights into the right or the left. Oh, there's a great little project to sort of start with.
Do you need much power to run that?
The neopixels require a bit of power. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, they can take up to 60 milliamps when they're fully lit as white, but typically more like 20 milliamps.
Modulate them with PWM or something?
Yeah, you
There's
keep
the
them off
new
as much as
S.
possible.
There's an S version now, but the maximum milliamps is like 16 milliamps, fully lit.
Okay,
It's brand new.
nice. That's good. Wish we'd known about that a little while ago.
No, it's 50-50 form factor.
SQLite has been ported to in the C space under the ESP-IDF. Thought you'd be interested in this, Damien, because I know you've had a hack at making this module in MicroPython before.
Yeah, a long time ago I've made this. Yeah, I got it right. But
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's really big.
Yeah. So it might be worthwhile having a look at this and seeing if we can, if it makes more sense. I don't know. But I've seen a few people using this now. There's a GitHub for this. Again, it's designed to plug into the under the ESP-IDF. So.
But it's not official, it's press it.
No. Some guys just decide to release it. Another cute little project, ESP8266 with a little display. You plug in the location on this thing, it will tell you when the ISS is overhead. I thought it was cool.
If you've got a big laser, right?
Yeah. The Canon Pixel Kit is this interesting little thing. It's an ESP32 based, heaps of these little LEDs on it. Designed for kids. There's a whole bunch of like tutorials they've got on what you can do with this to hold kids' interest. And there's a really well-written tutorial that takes you right from the get-go on how to put this thing together and flash MicroPython onto it. Snakes on a bookshelf. You've got to see the video for this. I'll show you guys that. But some guy decided to run these neopixels all around his bookshelf, index all of his books, and these LEDs, he goes and says, I want book blah. The neopixels all sort of start spinning around, and then they stop on the part of his shelf where he stores that book.
Someone's got too much spare time. Seriously.
Still cool. You guys would have seen the...
by author or title?
Sorry?
Does it sort
Yeah.
books by author or title?
Yeah, both would probably be right. A lot of people have used, including myself, use these LED matrices. They're really cheap. Some guys decided to tack four of them together. He's got quite a rich display and a whole bunch of C code to explore some of this. I'd love to see someone do this. So the reason I'm putting this up here is because there's a really good description on how to build all this together into a nice little housing and all the rest of it. And then I suggest you run MicroPython on it and do something similar. And I'll help you get that software running because that's something I've played a little bit. Other news, what have we got here? So, Bu Chao, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know Bu Chao, but he's pushing forward with the Raspberry Pi bare metal port. That's seen a lot of activity, and I've seen a bunch of people
What is it?
So it's you get a Raspberry Pi and you put MicroPython on it as bare metal. That's the only thing installed on it. Super
Instant boot.
fast, instant boot. Yeah.
Cool.
He's exposed a bunch of the hardware interfaces. So GPIOs have been working for a long time. I think he's got SPI and I2C and all that kind of stuff.
What about the graphics accelerator?
That's a hard thing. Little chat to Broadcom, I guess. What else is that? Tiny Picker updates. I'll probably
You do it. You do it.
Well, give me a Tiny Picker. Connected would be nice. So you guys have seen Tiny Picker. This is the Rev 6.
It's finished Rev 6.
Rev 6. This has been birthed today. There's only 2 of these in existence at the moment. But it's that small little ESP32 board that we've been playing with. Tell us more.
Done. No, it's so it's ESP32, so Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all the normal stuff that the room's got. It's got onboard PS RAM, 4 meg. So
Oh yeah,
heaps
so
more
that's so. Since we saw you last time, there's PS RAM sitting on the back here. That's kind of cool. This is a Pico D4 with PS RAM. That's nice. It's got a little dot star there, which is cute.
Yeah. So it's basically everything that the room, so that the rover is really, except for less GPIO than the rover. But in a smaller form factor, and it's a fully complete board.
With USB and rig and everything. Yeah.
LiPo charging and everything.
Yeah. So is it for sale yet?
Well, I've got to work out how many I'm going to make, who's going to make them, am I going to make them, is China going to make them, I don't know. A lot of decisions to make, but it's done. This is it. This was the final revision.
You think? Yeah.
So I need to get my backside into gear.
Seriously, awesome work.
And
So
make
that's
something,
really
yeah.
nice. I think Chris has got some hardware, but we'll have a look at that perhaps next month.
Yeah.
Or next time. PSA. So
Oh, MicroPython. It's MicroPython.
Yeah.
Designed for MicroPython.
Yeah. Also, we were talking before about the NeoPixels. This one's got a dot star, which is the similar but different to the NeoPixels. Dot stars have 2 lines you need to send data over. We didn't know, but it was consuming a lot of power. So even when you're not lighting those things, they consume over 1 milliamp, which really hurt our power budget.
Yes, but we have a solution. We have a jumper on the back.
Yeah, you can cut
If
it.
you don't want to, like if you want to use batteries and do like deep sleep, long life, and you don't need the LED, you just cut the jumper and it disables it and got it down to about 16 microamps for deep sleep.
So I'm hoping to get under the hundreds of nanoamps.
Yeah, you're not going to get.
Okay, I reckon I can do it. I reckon it's possible, but I need to use the ULP, but anyway, that's fine.
And just on that, they do scale down like the quiescent current as you drop the voltage. So like at 3 volts, it's less than half a milliamp, and you can keep going, and they're still light. But obviously, you're putting the room are sort of starved.
Right.
Yeah, so
Cool. That's
It's interesting. Do you know?
Oh, pictures.
yeah, they're not.
And that's it. So I came across this when I was looking through MicroPython news. That was kind of interesting.